Hey guys, today what I'm going to do is we are going to have a discussion about designing the database. Uh, basically, to create a software. I'm talking about to create a software, a small module of a big software. Basically, what I'm trying to do is to create a single microservice. Okay, single microservice should have small number of tables, very small unit of the business should be handled out here. So basically the what I'm going to do is to create the data model, because always I mean you should always start with why you are doing creating a model. Okay, so basically to first you should understand the data, model the data, do the database design, then create your software, create your module around it. Then after you have the modules and the relationship, that's again a big larger level. For now, let's today discuss about just the database design. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about an inventory system, inventory one module, single module. uh, okay, so basically I'm going to talk about that. Let me share my screen. Okay, so now you can see my screen. What I've done is I've opened this draw.io. Now it has renamed to app .diagrams.net. So basically I'm going to design my inventory database over here. So when we are what we are talking about the inventory database, it means like basically um, I'm going to create a generic inventory database. Basically, it has some items. It has a category, because everything, like if you have a inventory of cars, then each car may be you may have a like ambassador. You can have a car like Tata Nano. You can have like a car like high-end cars like Porsche or or a Lamborghini for that matter. So those are again higher end cars, right? Like Lamborghini and Porsche. So they should be categorized as luxury cars. And like the ones like Tata Nano is a cheap car, budget cars. Okay, then if you think of in a very different perspective, cars go on road only, but and it's a vehicle. Now think of a vehicle that does not run on road, it runs on rails, that is the train. So it can be categorized in that perspective. Idea is multiple perspectives, categorization in multiple perspectives. So let me first before coming to this, it's a relation part, I will come back to this. The idea is first when you do a database, why you are what you are going to keep in that database. I'm going to keep items in that database. Okay, so I'm going to, you can see my screen. I'm going to create like invento, or right, I'll just create item. Okay, and item is the table. Okay, and it is going to contain item. And now I'm going to create item ID. This is basically a field that uniquely the value will uniquely identify the data of an item. Okay, and I could give a name, item name, and I will give a item code. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is what is item code, by the way? Item code is nothing but external ID that can be shared with the customer or the user. And what is item ID then? It is internal something that only the system will understand. Internal to the system, and item code is external to the system, but both are unique identifiers for that particular item. Okay, now what I'm going to do is item description. Why this description can be shared with the client or the user. Item this item description. Okay, now Now let's say this item is a car. Okay, so now we are also talking about the categorization. So let's have a table for categorization. Okay, category. So similarly, I'll keep category ID, a category ID, then a category name, and then a category code. Category code and a category description. Okay, so basically we have this category and the item. So as we have discussed, one item can be mm, kept categorized as multiple categories because of its because you can use multiple perspectives on it. So that's why it's kind of a many to many relationship. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to many to many mandatory relationship. Why mandatory? Because I believe everything needs to be categorized so that they can be identified from the categorization perspective. As I've discussed, train is a vehicle that runs on rails. Okay, so categorization. And then there is a car. Car is a vehicle that runs on roads. Okay, and then there's a Lamborghini. Lamborghini is can be categorized as a luxury car, which is of course, and then again it's mm, a vehicle that runs on roads. Okay, so basically it's a many to many classification. Sorry, relationship. And then what I'm going to design is what I'm going to store in this inventory management system, because I'm managing the inventory, right? So I'm going to manage the quantity, and I'm not going to put the quantity field over here because this can be treated as a master table. And keeping the quantity out, this will happen is like it will basically insert, update, delete will happen much on this, and it will keep the present quantity. Okay, so basically I will keep this as item um, count, item count. Okay, so what I will say, inventory. Why do I say inventory? Because this is the actual thing that keeps the relation between it will keep the count. Okay, so I will say primary key is I will keep item ID for this, because inventory is basically it will contain a relationship between the item and the number of items it has. So I'll keep the item ID and I'll just keep a count. Okay, let me just delete. Okay, so just the count. Okay, it's a good practice. Of course you can do it in the main table, but it's a good practice to keep it separate, because when you load the table multiple times, you do not have to load this multiple times. It helps in reducing memory, managing memory, reducing cache. Okay, so those things are there at a very deeper level. So the idea is only retrieving this amount of data every time. Okay, so this, for that reason, this is a very good practice. So I've put inventory, okay, item ID and count. Now we should also have a table for the transactions, like you have got 10 cars, you have sold one car or you buy one car. Okay, so basically your inventory is getting increased. Or maybe you are let's talk about apples. You have 10 apples, someone buys from you 4 apples, so you have got 6 apples now. So that 6 apple will stay in the count. But now the transaction that has happened, that transaction record should be kept. Who, when, what. Okay, that is apple. Well, the customer details wouldn't be kept in the inventory system as such, but it is going to be kept in some other place, but we will keep a reference. Okay, so reference can be let's say transaction reference. That transaction reference can be referred in the other module, the customer module, I would say. So so let's design that. So basically what I'm going to do is transactions. So basically I'm going to keep the transaction details out here. Transaction ID. Transaction ID is a primary key that identifies a certain transaction uniquely. So basically then transaction, what you are doing in transaction. So item ID, this transaction is connected to the item ID. Okay, and then you have to have the quantity. Okay, so basically let's talk about apples, 10 apples, 1,000 apple, but it's a quantity, right? So that in a single transaction you have like item apple, and you have a quantity. Of course you can design it like one transaction can have um, multiple items associated to it. That can be done, but over here I'm doing like for each item. Okay, so like if you have like apples and mangoes. Okay, so basically for apples one transaction, for mangoes so the second transaction. Okay, so what I'm going to do is item ID, quantity, and basically then I'm going to do okay, reference, transaction reference. Transaction reference, or let's say just a reference. Okay, remember this is like the internal to the system, or the this module in fact. And reference is you can say a code you can share between modules. Maybe you can share with the customer also, depending on the design. So basically what will happen is so basically you can see these 4 elements that is over here. Okay, so basically you can now let's define the relationship. Okay, in this two these two are related. How item is always one, and it can be, and inventory is like one. So it is one-to-one mapping. Let's see, one to many, one to many, one to one. Okay, so let's connect this to this, and connect this to this. Okay, just okay. Okay, I don't know why it is like okay. Okay, you can see the arrowheads, but for some reason I don't know why this arrowheads is, otherwise it's normally can be pulled. Okay, anyway, these two dash on the arrow, you can see that. So it's like mandatory and one-to-one relationship. Now inventory, just a moment, just a moment. So let's again discuss from where we left off. Okay, so you can see my screen out here. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is this transaction is going to be counted connected to this. Why? Because that is the primary place. One to many is the place. Okay, this one let me connect to this, and this one let me connect to this. Okay, so this icon, you can see that one dash, and you know, it's like it's like one dash, and then it's like three things that's coming out. So that's a many. Okay, you can see my screen. This, I don't know how can be increased, but yeah, I can increase. Yeah, this is what I'm trying to show. Okay, so basically what is happening out here, we have got an item. Okay, we have got a category, and we have got a inventory, separate table. Basically this is going to be updated a hell lot of times. Every change is going to be updated, and this one is just the item. Okay, and this is the transaction. So every time there's a, like, let's say, reduction or increase in the item we are talking about, an item like this is going to be updated, the count, and how much has been done, this is going to be recorded in this table. One more thing I forgot to mention is like, that is like the time, uh, um, transaction date and time. This is a very important factor. This will keep an audit like of the thing that you are using. Okay, let's say someone buys from you, so reduction of inventory, so when it was done, so that date and time. So by this we come to the end of database design. um, okay, this is a free website that you can use. So it's a very good one. I like the experience. So by this you can create the tables. By one small thing, in a many to many relationship you need another table. Okay, so for that, let me create a table. It's like I mean, this is the table design, of course, but like at entity level it's a like relationship. Okay, but then I will the actual in the lower level, you need a many to many relationship table. So basically that would be item category. Okay, row 1 is item id, and row 2 is category id. Okay, so one to many we are going to use. Many, sorry, many will not come here, because this is a table where which is going to contain the number of like multiple relationship. Okay, like it will contain the id of the car, and it will contain the category name, categories id. That is like road vehicles is a category, you can say. So that id is to be kept here, and the names is to be kept here. So one to many again. So many is again connected to this. Okay, and one is connected to here because it's one item. Basically there can be multiple item ids in this table. So that is the idea. So only in this table, only one item with only one single item, a unique item id is going to be present. So that's how it is related, one to many. Okay, so basically today we are coming to the end of database design, how to do it and what tools to use. So if you like it, of course, please do comment, and if there's a like option, please do. Okay, Thank you. Bye bye.